The weakest or worst delivery month should be behind NIO and in the rear view. So let's talk about those briefly and then look ahead a little bit. This is from February 2025, and this is all passenger vehicle brands. The volume rankings, the reason I like to look at this is I see this as the big picture overview in China. You've got the blue representing ICE or gas sales. You've got the green representing battery electric vehicle sales. And then you've got the orange, which is NEVs, mostly hybrids or extended range EVs. If you'll note, there's not a ton of green here, but in the future, the majority, if not all, will be green, representing BEVs, battery electric vehicles. The three that I'm watching right now continue to be Mercedes-Benz at the 12th spot, BMW at the 14th spot, and Audi at the 15th. But if you'll note, all three of those brands are heavily selling their gas vehicles and not BEVs. How about for or through the first 2 months of the year? Kind of the same story. You've still got a lot of blue, especially for those brands, Mercedes and BMW at the 13th and 14th spots, with heavy sales in the gas side of the business. Audi, the same at the number 16 spot. Here's where it gets interesting. If we look at the BEVs as of February, so through the first 2 months of the year, you've got NIO at the 15 spot with over 17,000 sales. You've also got Onvo, which has not yet ramped on the production and delivery side of things just yet. The goal for that begins in this month of March, and yet they still ranked in the top 20. BMW, the only one of those three German brands to make it within the top 20. That's through the first 2 months of the year. Let's see what happens through the rest of the year. I'm very, very curious how this beauty is going to sell. We should see delivery numbers from the ET9 for NIO, with the main brand, the premium brand NIO, of course, looking to compete and take more of that high or premium subsegmented piece of the market. There is still obviously a lot to go somewhere. That market share is still being dominated by the German brand. So NIO, I think, is very well positioned, but also Onvo, as we will get a sense of how that ramp and the delivery side of the ramp in particular is going. They've got new models coming. The L60 is the one that's delivering now, but there are a couple more that should be released and announced. And I don't know how soon those deliveries will start. But again, this is something to keep in mind, and why I do think we have the worst months of deliveries behind us. How about this? The sub-brand Firefly. We still don't know yet what the battery as a service, the subscription price will be for those who want to only buy the vehicle and rent the battery. I'm not sure on specifics of how the build out of power swap stations looks for that, but my guess is just for the optional purchasing side for the vehicle without or with the adoption of battery as a service and not purchasing the battery, I'm guessing we'll see a price point of somewhere between 10 and 15,000 US dollars, which seems like a ridiculous value. But that's just my take and my thoughts. We have a lot more ahead. And as we look ahead to earnings, which will be Friday, I believe, before the market opens here in the US, March 21st, I'll be tracking things in the shorter term, like what's the daily trade volume? Will we get another 100 million plus shares traded on the daily side? And if so, will we see another big move up for the stock price? Will it be sustained? Will we see that sort of volume moving forward? I don't know. I don't have those answers. I still think, as far as the big picture overview, and that we're still really in the first major growth phase of market awareness, and that's within China, also abroad. I think the sub-brands are kind of the key for NIO to unlock and get the global brand awareness out there. NIO, I think, is still within China. The premium brand NIO is still becoming known and learned about even there. They're not as mature. They're not as old as some of the other companies that they're trying to compete with. So I do think that more time will only benefit them. I also think their positioning is beautiful. It's brilliant. I love that they established the premium brand first. And now as people become aware of the sub-brands and recognize that NIO puts out legitimate high-end premium services and products, I think that will be a draw. But I also don't know how long before things like battery swapping, power swap, and the advantages that those offer to users and consumers, and the longevity. I don't know when that really turns or hits a pivot point where more users will recognize the value there. So I remain long-term with my view, but in the short term, there's still plenty to track. Like, as I said, the trade volume on the daily side of things, the FTDs, I'll give an update whenever we get that data. They have been elevated lately, but that's also why I think that trade volume is the simplest thing to watch in the short term. And then let's see if sentiment starts to shift with the sub brands coming out and ramping, but also if big money starts buying in and it's more obvious that they start buying in to NIO and niostock. I have no idea what to expect in the super short term, but it's going to be fun to track it. So anyway, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you are most excited about, any of these things or something else. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see y'all again very soon.